I bought the house because it was cheap. Too cheap. A weather Victorian at the edge of a forgotten Connecticut town. Ivy covered, windows cracked, the kind of place people whisper about but never visit. I didn't care. I needed a reset after the divorce, peace, quiet, and a place to be alone. The house gave me that. At first. It started on my second night. The power had gone out during a storm. I was curled up on the couch with a flashlight and a fading candle. Wind battered the windows. The house creaked like it was exhaling. And then, I heard it, whispering. It was faint, like someone mumbling secrets from the other side of a door. I muted my phone and leaned in, trying to place it. The sound wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from beneath the floor. I froze. Heart pounding. Then I heard it more clearly. Claire. Claire. My name. I stared at the floorboards, gripping the flashlight like a weapon. Eventually, I forced myself to investigate. In the corner of the living room, there was a narrow hatch, the entrance to the crawlspace. I opened it slowly. Cold air spilled out, earthy and damp. I aimed my flashlight inside. Nothing. Just dirt. Cobwebs. Empty space. Still, I locked the hatch tight that night. But I didn't sleep. Middle, 2:30 to 7 o'clock. Over the next few nights, the whispering got louder. Always after midnight. Always saying my name. Sometimes it sounded like more than one voice. Other times, like breathing. Wet, raspy, and far too close. I told myself it was just the house settling. Or rodents. Or my own stress messing with my head. But by the end of the week, I couldn't take it anymore. I hired a contractor named Pete. Local guy. Friendly enough. I told him I needed the crawlspace inspected. Said I thought there might be something living down there. He showed up the next morning with a flashlight and a smile. It's probably raccoons, he said. Maybe a possum. Nothing I can't handle. He ducked into the crawlspace, half his body disappearing into the dark. I waited. 1 minute, 2. Then I heard him shout. Hey Claire. You need to see this. I crouched by the hatch. What is it? This space is a lot bigger than it should be, and there's a wall back here. A newer one. Doesn't match the rest of the foundation. A pause. Then, hold on, I'm gonna break through. I heard a loud crack. Then Pete screamed. A horrible, wet scream that ended with something snapping, loud and final. Then silence. I called his name again. And again. No response. And then something rolled out of the crawlspace. His flashlight. Covered in blood. I called the police. They searched the crawlspace. Dug into the dirt. Searched every inch. They found no blood. No wall. No Pete. They looked at me the way people look at someone grieving too hard. Wrote it all off as stress, trauma. Maybe you fell asleep and imagined it. But I know what I saw. And worse, I know what I still hear. The whispers never stopped. They grew bolder. Now they followed me, even when I left the house. I stayed at a motel one night, trying to escape it all. I woke to muddy handprints on the bathroom mirror. No one else was in the room. The next morning I went back, and I saw the crawlspace hatch had been left wide open. 3 nights later, I gave in. I couldn't take the whispers anymore. Couldn't take the sound of breathing below my feet. So I went down. I brought a lantern, a crowbar, and my phone to document it all. The crawlspace felt colder than it should have. My hands shook as I crawled on hands and knees through the damp earth. The whispers were louder now, insistent, echoing off the wooden beams. And then I found it. The wall. Rough stone, freshly mortared. The same one Pete had described. The voices were right behind it. Set us free. I raised the crowbar. It took 3 heavy strikes. The stones tumbled inward, revealing a narrow tunnel carved deep into the ground, far deeper than any foundation should go. I crawled forward, heart hammering. The tunnel opened into a chamber. The air stank of rot, and something else, something ancient. The walls were covered in claw marks. The floor was littered with bones. And in the center, hanging from rusted nails, was Pete. Or what was left of him. Eyes open. Mouth stitched shut. symbols carved into his skin, moving like they were alive. But Pete wasn't alone. In the corners of the chamber, half hidden in the dark, I saw them.
Pale.
Twisted. Once human things. Their mouths were open, teeth black, eyes hollow. They stared at me without blinking. And then, in one voice, they whispered, "You broke the seal." Conclusion: 7 to 10 o'clock. I ran. I crawled back through the tunnel, through the crawlspace, through the hatch. They didn't follow. They didn't need to. Because something had changed. The house was different. The air was colder. The lights flickered when I entered a room. The walls pulsed, like something was breathing just behind them. I tried to leave, tried to run. But the front door wouldn't open. None of them would. Windows were nailed shut. My phone wouldn't turn on. That night, I heard them everywhere, not just under the floor, but inside the walls, behind the mirrors, whispering through the vents. "Claire, stay with us." By morning, the house was sealed shut. And I was no longer alone. The neighbors say the house is empty now. But they're wrong. They don't hear what I hear. They don't see what I see. Faces in the mirrors, shadows moving through locked rooms, the hatch swinging open all on its own. They don't hear the whispers at night. But you might. If you ever find yourself near Hollow Creek Road, stop. Turn around. And if you pass by after midnight, whatever you do, don't listen to the crawl space. Because if you hear your name, it's already too late.